my main research field is like syntax and semantics, and I do also corpus linguistics using big data. And when you have the question like what is language, we often say language is a kind of set of signs, right? Which means language like a linkage between form and function. So what I am focusing on is like what is this mapping relation between form and meaning, or form and functions. And in particular, currently I'm working on, especially when you see some kind of mismatch or idiosyncratic mapping relations between form and functions. That's why I got interested in working on the so-called elliptical constructions, or ellipsis construction, which have been main focus in linguistic field for more than like 2 decades, right? So in this here in my visit, I also are giving talks on this form and function mismatches that we can find in not only English and like French and Korean and all these natural languages that we speak. So my topics, as I said, because I'm interested in this form-function mismatch, because this is quite interesting, right? So for one example, like when you say, what do you want? The answer can be like freedom or money, right? So even we have only this like one word like freedom or money, then how the question is how we can have like this from one simple fragment get like propositional meaning, right? Even though the answer is money or freedom, it means I want freedom or I want money, right? So think about this in terms of like a computer process, right? How can like all this computer processing parser can understand, can get the propositional meaning from this fragment. So in my first talk, mainly, so my talk is focusing on this mismatch between form and function. So in the first week, I talk about the so-called yes or no questions that we find in English and Korean, English type of language, or Indo-European type language and Korean type of language. So one big difference between this French type or English type language and this Korean type is like language, like when you try to respond to especially negative polar question, let's say like for example, like isn't this nice? In English you say yes, it means yes, it is nice. But when you say like Korean or like it is Chinese or Japanese, when you say like, isn't this nice? If you say yes, it means yes, it isn't nice. So it's like a big difference between these two languages. That's what I have been focusing on the first talk. So how we can analyze this? What is like best way to understand, to have the like propositional meaning from so-called simple monosyllable like yes and no, which we can find all like human language, right? That's the first question. Second question is like the thing that I just mentioned about how we can get like the proper meaning from saying like what do you want, like freedom or money, or like what are you interested in nowadays? You can say not in linguistics, right? So how you get like full complete meaning from this kind of fragments. That's like mainly my the topic of my second week. Third week is also like quite interesting in the sense that you also have like we often use this kind of so-called like anything or nothing as answer to the village question. So like what did you eat? Like you can say nothing in English, but Korean or in this language we do not have like words like nothing. We just have like anything, right? So there are languages where you can use anything as a kind of independent like answer to the village questions. So I try to account for why do we have this kind of difference among the language. So final talk that I will give on next Monday is also quite similar to this one, but this is like a bit more like interesting, which you you can find in so-called children's storybooks, like we call it pom-pom dialogues. In a sense, like who is running? Then you can say like Jane, but she's not running, right? So you are just like trying to crack what is spoken before. So once again, I'm trying to see how people can understand these kind of like incomplete sentences and giving proper meanings in which you can find not only, as I said, in Indo-European language, but also you can find in this Asian language or other language. Right? So we see all these four talks, I've tried to focus on how we can account for, explain the mapping, mismatch mappings that we find from like simple forms to like propositional meanings, right? So those are, I would say, the main topics of my four talks. My stay has been really great. Like, I mean, the thing that I like the most is like during my visit, I have had a chance to meet like linguists around here. You have like Paris City University has one great linguist here. So I have had a chance to meet like with scholars here, and we can talk about what we are doing, and we even talk about like what we can do together as a like international collaboration. And I also met many good students here. I mean, I had meetings with various students here. So we discussed I give some feedback to their research scholars, and all those kinds of things quite stimulating. And I learned a lot from scholars here, and I even learned a lot from students. I mean, it has been really great, and I also had a chance to look around, and as everybody says, I mean, once again, I learned that this Paris is a really attractive city, and I definitely want to come back here again.